Hey, Michaela. Hey, Jay. How are you? Hey, Stephen Davidson. Hey, Tammy. Um, ah, so, for those of you that are joining late, and YouTube is now up and running, I think. Tarot reading pop up. I don't know if you saw the poll that we had going. This fucking sage is still burning in this bowl. It's like still going, guys. Do you see this? And there's like literally like nothing in there. It's the bizarrest thing. I think it's kind of cool. I went through every card in the deck and waved it over the smoke. So the cards are extra special cleaned. Lighting a white candle. Calling in all of the higher beings of light. The Ascended Masters, the Archangel, all principalities of heaven. God, if you so believe, or the universe. Mother Nature, if you're into a more earth-based perspective, let's call her in. Call in all of that good energy because we're trying to look at the future. And let me tell you, boo, the future can be a funky thing. I shouldn't have put future up there. I'm mad that I did. I mean, I gave you all a selection in the group. Oh, and by the way, if you're new and you haven't joined the group, that's in the description of the video. And we did a poll of what our next live would be for our next pop-up, the subject matter. We've done relationships before. That was really popular. So I put in there, I even set my pen cap on fire, trying to put that smudge out. So retarded. We did the relationship pop-up, which was a lot of fun. People really enjoyed it. We did a Mother's Day pop-up, which was all about our relationships with our mom, which actually turned out to be really good and very emotional for me, which I wasn't expecting. And hey, that girl, hey. So I decided to put up a poll in the group and put it out to the group a few days ago, what they would like to see the next pop-up be. And I gave them a choice between, I think, career, love, pets. I thought pets would be interesting if we could try and use tarot cards around pets. I thought that would be possible. Spiritual was one subject, just like broad range subjects, right? And future was one of them. And of course, future took it because everybody wants to know what's going to come, what's going to happen. Everybody wants to know that answer, including myself. So I'm going to offer up this disclaimer. Let me put on some music really quick. Give me one moment. Okay, so here's the disclaimer for future reads. I do future reads, but there is such a thing as self-will and freedom of choice, right? That we have as individuals and as spirits and bodies. And so, a future read can one day be one future, and a week later, we've made different decisions or changed our path or changed our choices or totally fucking turned direction. Like me, my Pisces self, I will go to Mexico and decide 10 months later, I want to move back to the United States. So I will do my best to predict your future, tell you what I see as it stands for now with the energy that exists in your world today. But, I also never want anybody to take my information from a reading over their own intuition and their own guidance, okay? So basically, whatever I say, don't live for it. Like if I say, ooh, I see Mr. Tall, Dark, and Handsome coming in 3 months, girl, do not wait around for Tall, Dark, and Handsome and miss out on the great, short, fat, chubby guy who's blonde, who has a lot of money and treats you well and takes you on vacation the rest of your life. Okay? So don't I never want anybody to live their life for what I say for them. And that's why I'm very careful with how I do future reads, because there's a lot of people out there that are definitely seeking that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, I can be one of them at times, but I also really do rely on my own information, my own intuition. Hey, Laura Klinger, how are you? Hey, Belen. So I also rely on my own information. It's very important to me, and that I stand in my own truth and my own, intuition. So take it with a grain of salt. That's my disclaimer for tonight. We're gonna have fun. It's gonna be interesting to see where we're all heading. I'm excited, but I also want you to know that my word is not gospel. Your choices are gospel. Your free will is gospel. Your power to sort of intuit your own desires is much more powerful than anything that I'm probably going to say tonight. But let's see, I might say, oh, bitch, you're going to be pregnant in 3 months. And you're going to be calling me and go, girl, guess what? I'm naming the baby after you. And I'm going to be like, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. That whole sage thing was just so funny and wacky to me. So, oh yes, thank you, Ducky. Please like and share the video. Share it to groups where you know it would be appreciated. Share it wherever you think it would be needed. You know a hoe that is in trouble and needs some future read. Share it. Hey, Karen McIntosh, thank you for that. That just reminds me. Let me grab a pad and pen because I set my pen on fire, but let me grab a pad to keep the names straight. Okay, great. So, and then what we're doing tonight is I'm going to take paid readings first. I have a couple that have already been prepaid. Rose is one of them. Karen's another. And what I'm doing is I'm doing one card pull for $5. My PayPal information is in the description of the video on Facebook. Can somebody over in YouTube put up my PayPal information in the comment section? Because I'm not fast enough to do that. Or I could do it. Let me see. Hold on. Let's see, can I do that? Shit. Am I good like that? I don't know. Hold on. Okay. No, that's not what I want. Come on, Ho. Work with me here. Telmex, I don't care about you. I hate Telmex. So, and then we're doing one card for $5 and 3 cards for $10. And the way that I'm thinking about doing the 3 cards for $10, why is that not refreshing? Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. Maybe I need to close Facebook altogether. Hey, Tammy Kidwell. Did he say he set his pen on fire? Yes. Look, can I show you? It's like still burning, and I was trying to put it out, and I kept using the abalone shell, and it would not go out. They were like deep inside the sage smudge, so I dug in there with a pen to kind of knock them out into this abalone, but I kind of melted my pen cap. So my pen that I'm writing with tonight is free of evil spirits, so that's good. I'm super happy about that. So my pen is totally in a very good place right now. Like so good, it's melting. It feels so good. It's like on ecstasy. Okay. Oh, did I not put the contact information in here? Oh shit. For fuck's sake. Did I not do that? I think I forgot in my rush to put all my contact information in the video. Let me see here. I'm such a ding dong. Hold on. Let me see if I can fix this really quick. I don't know if I can or not. Okay, so there we go. So now I'll add it to the video description. Sorry guys, I'm sorry, I'm not like super savvy when it comes to electronics. I like Control C. There, I think I put the PayPal link into the comments section of YouTube. So, and if not, then if you can't reach it, yeah, it's there, I see it. So hopefully that works. Okay, and now I need to open up PayPal and just make sure that I don't have anybody other than Rose and Karen. Guys, sorry, this is why I take reservations, because I'm kind of an idiot and I set shit on fire. But give me a moment and then we will get going. For the stars. Come on, sign in, bitch. Hey, Margarita Jory, welcome. Thank you for coming to see the live. Oh, Amber. Amber sent over payment too. Okay, so I've got Amber Sadler. All right, so let's get started with these three. And I will try and keep an eye out for payments as they come. They usually pop up on the top of my screen. I'm going to say this too. The way that I'm going to do it is single card is just going to be like a general future card where your future is generally headed. Triple, like 3 cards, in my mind or my intuition where that's telling me is it's going to be the more nearer future and heading outward. So first card, second card, third card, like further into the future. So like I said, with free will and choice, the third card, you know, there's a large possibility that that card may never come to pass, right? But it could be possible depending on how you keep your energy running and where you know, head in your world, if that makes sense, okay? So, all right, so let's get started. So Rose, are you with us? Are you in YouTube world or are you in Laura Klinger? Are you laughing at me? And clicked on the bell. Please like and subscribe, comment, share the YouTube video. Also join the group on Facebook so you can be a part of the next poll to choose the subject matter of what we choose. Hey, Louie, how are you? Is Rose here? Yes, you're on. Okay, perfect. All right, so Rose, let's do 3 cards for you. You ready? I'm going to assume I have your permission. So give me one moment. Let's get that cord out of the way. It's so unattractive. Ooh, nice armpit hair, right? I spent all day gardening today outside. I have a little sunburn on my shoulder. Okay, Rose, future. Yes, Kirsten. Okay, Rose, I'm going to say this about the shuffle. It feels like things are like in your future will move quickly. They won't always be smooth, but they won't be, it feels to me like there's not a lot of resistance. There's not a lot of struggle there. It feels more like, if anything, you're going to be dealing more with like sort of miscommunications, clunkiness in a way, not necessarily um, like, you know, the world's out to get me, problems at work, problems with friends, problems with family. It's not that sort of stuff. It's more like mishappy kind of energy, um, communication stuff going on in the future that kind of goes wonky, but it's not anything that you can't sort of like deal with, handle, manage. It felt like things are actually going to move very quickly for you. Sorry, YouTubers, I'm kind of looking at the Facebook screen a bit, so don't mean to feel like I'm ignoring you. I'm here for all of you and your many needs, your many futuristic needs. So it feels like to me like things are going to be moving at a sort of rapid pace coming up. I don't know if things already are moving quickly for you, but if they're in a slow period right now, don't worry. That faster period or that pickup pace will start to begin if it hasn't already. And it feels to me like the universe or like the environment is working with you, not against you. Okay. The only thing is that there's room for like sort of small mishaps, things like that, but totally manageable. So let's look at your first card. Your first card is the Empress. I like that she is here and she is present. Hey, she's kind of like, I mean, to me, she kind of has an attitude of like Beyonce in a way. She's large and in charge. She knows her shit. She knows how to rule. She's compassionate. She's strong. She's guarded. I mean, not guarded, but like protected, you know? And she is aware of like not only her strengths, but also her weaknesses. And that in and of itself is a strength, right? When we're aware of our weaknesses and when we're aware of where we're vulnerable, we can actually almost like use it to our advantage or share it with the right people to sort of work it to our advantage. And that's what I feel in this card. I feel like there is some things that like might be set out in the horizon that you see as upcoming problems, but because this is the Empress card, she's sort of able to kind of pick and choose how she deals with those problems or how she faces them and sort of move in a way that either she goes straight directly through them, knowing that they're coming her way and is able and capable of dealing with them, or she has time enough on her hands and enough of an awareness about herself or yourself, I should say, that you can sort of maybe even find ways to go completely around the problem without having it drag you in and affect you in that way. So I feel like in your near future, this Empress card is going to say that you're going to feel like you're sort of in charge. You're going to feel compassion towards others, a need to sort of help others in a compassionate way, not a codependent way. Does that make sense? The Empress is above, not above, like as if you're better than, but you know, the Empress is sort of, she keeps her standing, but she's willing to help those around her, or not that people are below you, but do you know what I mean? That's what I'm getting at, is that you're able to not necessarily, you're able to help others without sinking into their despair. Does that make sense? So, and you have assets, you have, there's things going on in this card that I feel like you're going to utilize your assets, you're going to utilize your strengths, you're going to become, if you're not already aware of them, you're going to become much more aware of them in the near future, and start to sit from that sort of place and operate from that place in your world where you're centered and grounded and in power, right? And able to help others. You may not have a lot, like you may not be super wealthy, you may not have, but I feel like this card doesn't need for that either, right? She just knows that she has, her needs are met, she's at peace, things are good. So your next card, further out into the future, is the Child of Crystals, and this is Learner. When I look at this card makes me think of a couple of different things. Crystals deals with the mind, so it has to do with a lot of thinking. There's a lot of, when I look at this next to the Empress, I feel like there may be a situation that might follow this period where you are feeling in control and feeling like you've dealt with everything in a great manner, where something might come up that might spook you in a way, or bring you back to your childhood, bring you back to a place of thinking as if you're vulnerable, bringing you back to a place of like the way I want to put it is, it's almost as if like a situation may come up that where you're treated in a way or spoken to in a way that is similar to your childhood, that brings up old sort of memories, old sort of beliefs, old sort of systems of thought that you need to like sort of shake free of, right? And that's what this card is about. It's the learner card. We're learning to sort of in during this period, coming in off of the high of the Empress, right? And the control and the power of the Empress, we're feeling, hey Kayla, we're feeling a little bit vulnerable in this situation. So this, I would say, I'm feeling like this could be like in 3 or 4 months is what I'm sort of wanting to pinpoint to, is like in 3, maybe 4 months, there might be something that comes up that sort of, it doesn't really knock us fully back. What it does is it sort of like reminds us of our past. It brings up and dredges up memories of our past that brings us to a place that isn't necessarily where we just felt we were for the last few months. It's sitting in the seat of the Empress. Does that make sense? And so, but it's, I think ultimately for a good reason, because what it's doing is it's calling it to our attention and it's bringing it to the surface so that we can then really, further our empressness and our awareness of who we are and what we believe and what works for us and what doesn't. And we can sort of learn, like hold it, look at it, accept it, and then let it go. Okay. Further into the future, and this is a great card, is the Nine of Wands. And Wands has to deal with spirit. It's the suit of the spiritual. And to me, this is the integrity card. It's a beautiful card. It's one of the more like sort of vague, out there cards in a way. There's a lot of like, there's a picture of a church and all of these things. But what I feel like in this card is I feel like there is this sort of, when I look at these 3 cards together, it's like the Empress, she sort of knows that she has everything in the material world, or she knows that she has everything under control and can take care of things in the material world. The Child of Crystals card feels like something may come up in 3 or 4 months where it kind of shakes you. It makes you, thank you, Denise. I'm adding you to the list. It makes you take a step back and go, whoa, I haven't felt this way in a long time. And this reminds me of, I'm just using this as an example. This reminds me of my father, right? Or this reminds me of how my mother used to speak to me, or this reminds me of growing up and when I was frightened or whatever. But whatever it is that happens, right? When it brings that up for you, what you're going to do is you're going to take your mind and the strength from that time during as the Empress to sort of look at those things and sort of release them. And when you release them, it brings you to this place of the Nine of Wands, which is integrity. It's this spiritual integrity. It's this awareness. It's like the Empress, but like on a spiritual level, right? It's deepening your relationship with yourself, with your spirit, with your awareness of who you are. And there's a clarity there in the word integrity. There's like a clarity, a self-awareness that's very deep, strong, spiritual connection to yourself. And I think that is a sort of a byproduct of having gone through this Child of Crystals period, this learner part, right? Where we've learned it and we've sort of transmuted it and moved through it, released it. And now we're sitting in this beautiful place of this integrity card, which says to me that you're going to know who you are and you're going to feel good about it if you don't already. I think you already do with this Empress card, but it's going to feel even better. Does that make sense? I feel like it's going to feel even better. It's going to feel even more solid. It's going to be more about not needing necessarily outside validation from others, because the validation is all internal and spiritual and connected and wonderful and beautiful. So that's the future that I see for you. I hope that makes sense. I hope that that resonates. Okay. I'm going to check PayPal really quick, make sure I didn't miss anybody, and just take a little moment from that because that was quite a bit. I have a tendency, if nobody's noticed, I have a tendency to overshare when I read. Don't judge me, it's Coca-Cola. It is a beautiful read, Ducky. It really is. Rose and I talk a little bit in personal message, and she's really a lovely person. I don't know if she's aware of how lovely she is, but she is a very lovely person. And it says to me that the Empress card says if she isn't aware of it already, she's going to certainly become aware of it and become more lovely. Something's going to shake her a little bit, but then she's going to get to that Nine of Wands, and it's going to be an even like deeper strengthening and awareness of who she is spiritually and connected. Okay. And if there's any like wonder, Rose, about like relationships or anything in the future, this integrity card, I have to say too, I was really picking up when I was noticing it, is that it's sort of like it's you by yourself, but you're okay with that. Does that make sense? Like there's a definite strength and an integrity in knowing who you are and not necessarily having need for outside validation whatsoever. All right, Kirsten, thank you. I saw that. I'm adding you to the list. So the next person is Karen. Karen McIntosh, are you here? You dreamt of your dad yesterday? Very cool. He was probably visiting you, saying hello. So Karen McIntosh, where are you, dear? I know there's a lag, but you're next on my list, and then Amber Sadler's after that. What's going on over in YouTube land? Please like and share the video out, guys, if you can. Share it to places like Lightworkers live feeds. Wherever you think it would be utilized, any tarot readings, spiritual groups, places where people would enjoy it. Join the Facebook group. Thank you, Denise. I love the CD. It's a like all the music of Coldplay set to like weird jazzy tempo. It's such a good album. Thank you, Amber. I like that you love my vibes. I love my vibes too. Laura Klinger, I do free cards. I'm trying to do the paid ones first. Once I get the paid ones done, then I'll do a free single card pull for people that stay till the end. I'll do a couple for a few people that I feel drawn to. So that will happen. It's not all paid, but people tend to want to pay because they want to skip the line. So I have a little bit of a line right now, and I'm waiting for Karen McIntosh. But I don't know if she's still in the room. She's not speaking up. Karen. It is Karen McIntosh, right? Let me just double check that. Sorry, guys. This gets so goofy and confusing sometimes. I'm really glad that you're blown away at how relevant your reading was, Rose. You'll have to tell me about it. Send me a note in the message as to why, because I would like to know, because I would love that sort of validation. Let me just double check. I thought it was Karen McIntosh. It is Karen McIntosh. Oh, your phone died. You're having a night like me. At least you didn't set it on fire like I did with my pen. Are you good to do the reading right now, Karen? It's one of those nights. I didn't see that coming in your future, Karen. Okay, you're back. All right, so I'm going to do your cards right now. Ready? I'm going to assume I have your permission. Give me one moment to shuffle the cards for Karen McIntosh's future. One moment. All right, Karen, I'm going to say this. For yours, the word tidy came up. Like I feel like your near future or the future that's coming up for you is going to be sort of easy or easier than it has been in the past, right? And the reason why tidy comes up is it's like this idea of okay, so I feel like I've got control of stuff and things are being handled well. So I just need to make sure that I'm like crossing my T's and dotting my I's, being very tidy, very almost meticulous, but not in a way that's like uncomfortable or annoying. It's more like just making sure that you get everything done, all the small details. Does that make sense? I didn't get a lot of heavy pressure or resistance, so I feel like something has given way or has become easier or will become easier in the near future. If it's not feeling easy right now, it feels like there is an ease to the cards. There's such an ease that it allows you to sort of relax enough that you can pay more attention to the smaller details and keep everything sort of tidy. Like that's the word that came up is like small details and tidying everything up, like labeling everything and like, okay, this goes here in my life and that goes there and this gets fixed here and that's done. I can put that in that corner and feeling like everything's like kind of labeled and organized and the way it needs to be. Okay. So that's what I feel from the shuffle. So let's look at the cards. So the first card is the Five of Cups, which is disappointment. And this to me, I've read you before and I know you sort of a little bit personally. This to me feels like familial shit. It feels like you're not done with your brother. I think I have a feeling that this has to do with your brother and your mom. You're fine in the situation, I feel like. I feel like you're protected and you're strong in this situation, but you're tired of it. Like you're just sort of done. This disappointment card says to me, it's just like, oh, this again. And so it feels like this is like going to be your near future of sort of like, I almost get the feeling like the disappointment, it's been ongoing for so long that you're almost going to like just sort of let it go. Like I almost get this feeling of like, oh, I don't care anymore. Just do whatever you need to do. I need to be free from this because it's like dragging me down and I don't like it. And I feel like that shuffle felt lighter and freer, right? So this card to me feels opposite of that. So I feel like in the near future, and I mean, near future could be like this month even, you're going to be like in such a state of sort of not annoyance, but like just like, fuck, we're doing this again kind of thing, that you just sort of want to let it go and not let it go like you don't care, but like like let go of the fight. Does that make sense? Let go of the resistance. Maybe if it's about his way versus your way or your mom's way versus his way or whatever it is that's going on, you're going to step back from it, I feel like, because it's bearing down on you too much. You've been dealing with it for too long. It's not really fixing itself. It's too much wreckage. And I see you, like when I look at this card, I see you as these roses in this card, which to me feel like very beautiful, very capable, very protected and strong, yet delicate, right? So you're aware of what you can handle and what you can't and what you don't want to handle anymore. It's like you've been dealing with this for too long, or like the wreckage of it is just so everywhere that it's just like, no, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. So the next card is the Seven of Cups. Wow, this is weird. You've got a lot of emotional energy going on because this is not what I felt in that shuffle. I felt like you were going to be like doing more detail-oriented stuff. This is the Fear card. To me, this feels like, let me just look at this for one moment. I'm going to say this. I feel like disappointment feels like you're letting go of something, right? Like you're going to try and walk away. You're going to attempt to walk away. You feel like the situation is sort of dead, or you can't deal with it anymore. But this Fear card feels like you're going to get swept back up into it. Like it's got, and the reason why I say that, there's this wave that's coming over here, and there's all this like pottery and shit, and it feels like it's kind of what you have left of yourself that you're trying to save over here in the disappointment card. It's sort of getting swept back up into the emotion of it all and getting caught back up into it. So you may walk away for a while after disappointment and give yourself a little bit of a break. That might be where your energy lightens and you're able to pay attention to your own details of your life and maybe get some of that organization that you feel like you might need. But this fear card says to me that it's going to try and suck you back in. It's the thing is it's family. So family's tough. They know all the buttons and how to push them, right? And unfortunately, they know how to suck you right back in and pull you right back into the drama. And I feel like this is not necessarily that you will get pulled back into the drama, but there's a fear that somebody's going to bring you a situation that's going to cause you to second guess your decision of walking away in this disappointment card. Does that make sense? And that's going to bring up that fear. Shit. I kid you not. Your third card is the same third card as Rose's. It's the integrity card again. Theme night. So I'm going to say this. This Nine of Wands card is back. This is a really strong, beautiful fucking card, guys. What it says is that you might get caught up in the fear. Oh, I'm getting chills. Oh, I'm getting like the woo down my back. Like I'm getting like these, it feels like fingers running down my back. What this says to me is that you might get caught back up into it for a moment. You might be fearful that maybe you're making the wrong decision by walking away. You might be fearful that you're making the wrong decision, sort of extricating yourself from the drama and trying to hold on to what little bit like you still maybe have left, right? But this integrity card says to me that what you're doing and the choices that you're making in the end will have integrity to them. They will have, your spirit is behind you, even if you don't realize it. In the decision-making process, what you are doing and how you are doing it, you're doing it correctly. You're doing it from a good place. You're doing it from a place that's based in emotion right now, right? But emotions are usually signifiers from our spirit. So that means that on some level, you are making your decisions from a spiritual place, right? Barring that you're not being a total asshole and fighting, which I don't think you are, but anger is an emotion that's not necessarily based in spirit, but it does let us know, it's our way of communicating on an emotional level that something's not right? So I don't think that these don't say that you're going to be fighting much. They seem more like you're going to be withdrawing and then maybe fearful that you're getting sucked back in at a certain point. But what's going to happen is, again, you're not going to get sucked back in completely. You're going to have to get strong. You will get strong, let's say that, because this Nine of Wands does have a certain strength to it. It does have an awareness, a self-awareness. And again, I'm going to say this because I said this also to Rose. This card is about your own internal spiritual validation around the decisions you make and not necessarily needing the outside world or your family or anybody else's approval. It's like having that strong spiritual sense and awareness that what you've done for a right reason, and it was good enough, and that's that. And you can keep, and this card to me is that time where it's light, it's free. You're then able to concentrate on you, put the attention back on you, and not feel guilty for that, not feel wrong for that, not feel worried that you're doing something that's selfish or you're not paying enough attention to your mom, whatever it is. You don't have to worry about that with this card in the future, right? This is about you knowing that everything you've done with integrity. You've done from a spiritual place. You've done from a place where it's made you almost a stronger person. And in a strange way, I have to say this card makes me feel like you will actually be grateful for this whole crazy scenario that you've gone through with your brother and your mom and everything. Because when you get to this place of integrity and this self-awareness and the strength that's here, it's such a beautiful and peaceful place that if you look back and you reflect back on all the stuff that you had to go through to get there, all of that served a purpose because it got you to this place of integrity. And then your whole perception of that time that you suffered through and the situations that you were in shift, and you become in acceptance of them, and you kind of almost use them as, like, you can almost even find gratitude for them. And that changes your entire relationship to the energy and the family and everything. So I'm just going to leave that there. And I hope that, like I said, my disclaimer is that these cards are as they play now, not necessarily as the energy is the way that it is right now. We do have free will and choice, but I really think that this is actually, although it's a bit of an emotional read, I think you need to go through the emotions. You need to make the decision to do you, and then you need to get to that place of spiritual awareness that everything you did right, and own that. And you're going to find that your whole relationship to that whole situation is going to change. You're going to actually find gratitude for it instead of resistance. And that's that lightness that I was feeling in the shuffle. Okay. You're welcome, Karen. I'm sorry I'm not reading the comments as much because I'm trying to stay focused on the cards and in my space back here. Because there's all kinds of shit going on back here. Like little voices and people saying, like, girl, tell her this, tell her that. Tell her she's a great person and she's going to be okay. Excuse me, it's a burp from the bubbles from the Coke. Coke is such, like, you know what I really wanted? Coke is so awful, but it's so good when you want it. What I really wanted that they don't freaking have, I've only found it in one place in Mexico so far, and I don't know why, because you would think it would be down here. Sometimes I want a fucking Mountain Dew, people. That's how white trash I can really get down, okay? And I want a Mountain Dew, and there's no fucking Mountain Dew in all of Mexico. Like, it's like Mountain Don't here. I don't know what the problem is, but I found them out by the marina one night when we were going on a dinner cruise with friends, and they were in a cooler in this little drugstore, and I was like, oh my God, Mountain Dew, shut up. I love that teeth rotting like fucking juice. Oh, it's so good. Anyways, all right, so let's move on. I just admitted way too much. Yes, you too can be spiritual and love Mountain Dew. Amber Sadler. That's all you drink, Amber? We are so spirit connected. I can't drink it all the time because it's not good for you. But when I want a soda, I love Mountain Dew. And I love to play, like, I used to love to get like Mountain Dew, some potato chips, and a video game going. Like some good video game, and just like garbage out and drink Mountain Dew and play video games for a couple of hours. I used to love to do that. But I have to suffer with Coke. But Coke's not bad. It's not the same. And in the Coca-Cola here in Mexico has way more sugar in it. So it's much sweeter. It's different. Excuse me. So I don't know if Mountain Dew would be the same if it was produced here. So it's probably better that we do have a Walmart here. I wonder if they have Mountain Dew at the Walmart here. Oh God. Okay. Now you can really tell them I was living in Texas. All right. Amber, are you ready, dear? Hey, Raylene. Sorry. Hey, Etta Ritchie. You guys, please. Hey, Amber. Please join the group and please like and share. If you've liked your reads, please recommend me on my business page, follow my business page, follow my personal page, so you can get tuned in. I will do a couple of free reads tonight after I get done with the paid ones. And subscribe to my YouTube channel. You are ready. Okay, Amber. Okay, so here we go. Amber Sadler's future. Okay, so message from spirit, let's say. As I'm shuffling these cards, they feel light too, and I'm going, this is weird. There's not a lot of resistance. What I'm hearing, what it's being said to me, is that these are future reads. And there's not going to be a lot of resistance in a future read, only because we don't know, the future hasn't happened yet. And we don't know how, say, Amber or Karen or Rose is going to react to a certain situation. We can guess, but like the resistance isn't the same when you're doing a future read, is what I'm being told. Because it's something that hasn't happened yet. Does that make sense? When you're doing a current read, you can kind of gauge I can gauge the resistance by how the cards flow. So again, I'm going to say this. I felt a slight amount of resistance in your cards in the third shuffle, Amber. So that means further out in your future, you might be in a little bit of resistance to whatever's going on. But until whatever we're looking at here happens and you react to it, we're not going to, because how do I want to put this? You're the one that's in charge of the amount of resistance that you have in your life. You're the one that's in charge of how you're going to react to a situation. So until you actually hit the situation head on, only then can we see, until you're in it, then we can feel the energy of how you're reacting to it, right? So that's why I'm not getting a whole lot of resistance on these shuffles, is what I'm being told. But I did get a little in your third, so I feel like there will be some resistance in your future. But we'll see. Let's look at the cards. Okay, so for Amber's first card, it's the Five of Worlds, which is setback. Worlds deals with Worlds deals with finances, money, career, things of that nature. And when I look at setback, this is obviously, a setback. This is not a positive thing. This is something that sort of might come up in the near future that kind of needs to come to an end. When I look at this card, it feels like something that you already know needs to come to an end. Like, I almost feel like when I'm looking at this card, I feel like I need to quit my job and I know it, and I've been here for like a year too long and I hate it and I need to get out. It feels like that. Okay. Like, you've sort of known that you needed to change the situation. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be your job. It could be a relationship. It could be your home. It's something materially based, but it's something that you've been aware needed to change for a really long time, and you were reluctant to change it, or you were too, I don't want to say lazy, but like too sort of, no, maybe it'll get better. No, maybe I can suffer it out, or I'm tough enough, I can deal with this. Like, those were the excuses that were going on in your head. Well, in the near future, this card feels to me like the universe is like, no, bitch, you're going to change. We're going to make you change it. And I mean bitch in a loving way. That's just how I talk. So, wait, okay. Well, I don't want to read the comments, so I'm just going to keep going. So to me, it feels like now it's like sort of the universe pushing you off the cliff and going, okay, Amber, you've known this for a while. We've known you've known this. You need to change this. It might even be multiple things. Like, it feels like this is a restructuring happening in this card. It's kind of like we have to burn down everything before we can build new. And so we have to kind of go about having this setback, or what would appear to be a setback. But what it's really doing is it's positioning us to go somewhere that's better suited to us in the long run, right? And we're just too scared or too worried or too fearful to kind of go out there on our own. So this is the universe's way of pushing us, or our spirit guide's way of pushing us towards it, by setting us back a little bit, like by giving us a little bit of trouble, right? I do want to say this. I get this picture. Thank you, Nancy. I'll put you on the list. I get this picture of, like, how when a forest burns down, how like it can burn to the ground and be black embers and awful, but like you give it like 6 months to a year and all that new growth comes back, and like it comes out of almost nowhere. And sometimes like new plants will like thrive and grow in places where they weren't otherwise there because of the fire, right? Because of the elements of the burned earth and the carbon and all that sort of stuff. It creates like stuff in the soil that like feeds other new life forms, right? And so that's what I feel like this card is it's like sort of pushing you off the cliff, making you sort of go like, oh fuck, I should have changed that, but I didn't, but now it's changing on its own. So if you roll with it, you're gonna reposition yourself and be heading towards something different. Now, your next card is the Ten of Cups. This is passion. Okay. Now, to me, when I look at this card, I feel like this is a good card. I feel like this is you heading maybe towards something you're more passionate about in your like later future, right? But I also feel like there's like the redness and the orangeness of this card makes me feel like you might be a little bit angry. Like I feel like you're going to be going after. There's this repositioning happening in the first card, right? And then there's this like sort of how do I want to put it? Uh, Pursuing one's passion, but being kind of frustrated with people that maybe get in your way or aren't necessarily helping you or aren't necessarily supporting you or not necessarily. It's like it almost feels kind of um, like you're annoyed that you have to do it all on your own, like you're not supported. Does that make sense? And and so you will go after it. There's a tenacity here, and that's that anger that I kind of feel like, or that redness, the fieriness. It's like pushing yourself forward. I wouldn't even be surprised if you aren't like maybe a fire sign or like an Aries or like I feel like Aries energy or something. But it feels like pushing yourself forward and going after it almost out of like, well, fuck them. I'm gonna show them. Watch this, and then you go after it and try and make something happen almost to spite um, those around you that aren't supporting you in the way that you need to be supported. But the key here is like when I look at this lion here, maybe you're a Leo, not an Aries, I don't know. This lion here says to me that you are fully aware and strong and capable. You don't need their support. You don't need the help of others or the validation of others, even though you may think that you don't need it. And I think that that's getting angry about it might be exactly the impetus you need to sort of not only propel yourself forward, but also let go of that sort of like take those training wheels off and be like, well, fuck them, watch this. I'm going to go pursue my passion and get it together. All right. Your last card is the Six of Worlds. Interesting, because you had the Five of Worlds to begin with. Worlds is, like I said, finances, career, money, that sort of thing. I feel like this is, I don't know if you're in a relationship already. I don't know if that relationship needs to end in the setback card. But this card to me, the synergy card, feels like, I'm going to say this. I think that if you are in a relationship now and you know that it needs to end, it's going to end in the setback card, or you're going to need to make it end. That's some of this passion thing and being pissed off and sort of like on your own and left to deal with it and moving forward. But this Six of Worlds feels like there might be a new relationship coming. And the reason why I say this is these two swans here feel like you and another swan kind of swanning together and working together to find a pattern that works well, not only as a relationship, but also like it being a world's card. It says to me that it's like finding success with someone else and sharing the burden and making and creating a life that, although it may be difficult and overwhelming at times, you have each other for support and you're finding that synergy to sort of like balance each other and help each other to carry all of this stuff, all of this material stuff like money, rent, bills, a home, that sort of thing. But it feels more supported. It feels like it's what's the word that I'm looking for? Like equal. Like there's an equality there and a shared responsibility that I like, and so that's what I feel like that is, and that's like your furthest out future card. Okay. But remember, on your third shuffle, you have that bit of resistance, which to me is interesting. So I almost want to say, like, if you're in a relationship now that you know you need to get rid of, don't go into this next relationship thinking, oh, he's probably just going to be like that same asshole that I was just with. That might be that resistance. And if you're not in a relationship right now and you feel like you're moving forward by yourself and doing it all on your own, that resistance in the third shuffle might be your mind sort of telling you, oh God, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen, and just assume that you're going to be single forever. This card to me says don't fall in that trap, because there is a possibility here where you might actually meet somebody and you guys could work out really well. and support one another. It won't be easy. I mean, like there's a lot of work and there's a lot of juggling going on, and relationships are hard, but you can do it, and you'll have somebody that's sort of equal to you that supports you, and you support them, and it's definitely going to be better than this setback card. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there. Please like and share out the video again. I would appreciate it. I want to see lots of shares, guys. I want to see, why aren't you guys getting sharer badges? That's what I want to know. Oh, maybe because I did this from my personal page and not from the business page group thing. I don't know. Good, I'm glad it makes sense. Okay, so Denise is up next, and then Kirsten's after Denise. Not yet, Kirsten. You're up next after Denise. Denise, are you here? Thank you, Louie. I'm going to check PayPal while I wait for Denise to come in and say she's here. Just make sure nothing new has come in that I haven't seen. Just Nancy. Okay, good. Denise Ayahia Dallin. Laura Klinger says she's addicted to cola and Pepsi. I'm not necessarily addicted. It's just every so often I love to have a Mountain Dew. It's crazy. I'm going to start the CD while I wait for Denise to show up. One moment. Where is Denise Gracia? Denise, you're usually always around. Where is she? All right, Kirsten, are you here? Because I can do you then, and then if Denise, maybe her phone died too. Who the hell knows? I know she's always here, so there's something's up. She might be busy or whatever. I also want to do a couple of free reads. So, all right, Kirsten, I'm going to do you next, and then I'll do Denise. Hopefully she comes in. All right, so Kirsten, you're up. Kirsten Afrasiabi. All right. Kirsten Afrasiabi. Future. Okay, Kirsten. Oh, Denise, I'm starting Kirsten and you'll be next. Okay, Denise, hang tight. Kirsten, for you, like, again, I didn't get a lot of resistance, but that's because we're doing future reads. But what I did get is I feel like there's a certain amount of like you have a very analytical mind and a certain amount of distrust, if that makes any sense at all. Like, it's not easy to win your trust. Does that make sense? Like your trust is valuable to you, or you're not easily convinced of stuff, if that makes any sense. That's what I was sort of picking up. But I don't know if that makes sense to you at all. Like you're a hard sell, girl. Like you're just like, we'll see about that. I don't know. That's what I was getting while I was shuffling. So let's look at your future cards and see. So your first card is the Ace of Wands, which is Illumination. All right, Michaela, thank you. So Ace of Wands is illumination. Shocker! I mean, it looks like totally the hand's getting shocked. It's the Ace of Wands. To me, this feels like, and it's a Wands card, so it's spiritual. Girl, get ready. I feel like, and this is the thing, these are future reads. So I don't want to spook anybody. I don't want to scare anybody. This is a spiritual card, but this is a card that offers us an opportunity to see a situation from a different perspective that we wouldn't otherwise get to see. This is an opportunity, and it is an opportunity, but it has a certain sort of like illuminating quality about it that it kind of like opens our eyes wide, right? So I would say that there's going to be an experience or something's like something big is going to shift. And from that shift, you're going to like, how do I want to put this? Like it's going to wake you up, but not in a bad way. At first, it might feel initially scary or spooky, like the rug being pulled out from under you, but it's kind of like it needs to happen because you need to sort of be looking at something differently. There's something that it's not that you're missing it. It's like maybe kind of similar to the last read. It's like something maybe in the back of your mind has not been right about a situation, but you're not exactly sure what it is. Well, this is going to bring that to light. This is going to like sort of show you. It's not going to be like, it's going to be big. I feel like this card is an ace card. So it's the Ace of Wands. So it's like sort of like an eye opener. It's like a boom, like, oh, fuck. Whoa, I didn't see that coming. But in the end, it's beneficial. In the end, it gives us the illumination. It gives us the awareness to go like, oh, I didn't need that in my life anyways. Or, oh, I didn't need to be doing that to myself. Or, oh, I didn't need to be thinking that way. Or, oh, I didn't need to be, I'm just using these as examples. But it's going to be, at first, like the initial shock of it is, our first reaction generally is like, oh no, I don't want too much change. Don't change anything too much, right? But this change needs to happen because it's going to propel you forward. Because this is a Wands card, it's going to propel you forward in a spiritual way. And it's going to make you more aware, more clear, and as the kids these days say, more woke, girl. You're going to be more woke. But sometimes to get woke, we have to get shook a little bit. And that's what this card feels like, okay? Your next card is the art card. This card to me is also kind of a power card. It's in the major arcana. So those cards usually can pack a bigger punch. So this feels to me like when I'm looking at this, I'm going to go out on a limb. I don't know, but I'm going to just go out on a limb. I feel like this illumination, I don't know if you're in a relationship. I kind of feel like this is some sort of relationship that's going to come to light where you're going to realize you don't want to be in it anymore. If it's a romantic relationship, if it's a work relationship, if it's something that you've been doing for a long time and you've kind of not been feeling right about it for a little while, this illumination card is going to be like the sort of the straw that broke the camel's back. This art card to me feels like this is the opportunity to not only go through the emotions of the ending of that relationship or the awareness of what we've learned in the illumination card, but we have to like process through those emotions. We have to heal ourselves, and we have to sort of decide where we move on to next. That's why I feel like this illumination card is possibly some sort of a relationship. The art card, though, is all about like creativity and the feeling of emotions and the processing of the information, and then taking all of that process and taking all of that stuff that we go through, right? And releasing it out into the world in a creative way to sort of propel ourselves forward. And remember, this illumination card is a Wands card, so it is about spiritual fulfillment. It may not feel good in the moment when you realize it, but as you go through the emotions, deal with them, and move forward with this art card, you get to sort of be the master of your destiny. You get to be the one that decides, okay, what do I want to create? Where do I want to go? What do I want to do? And that's what this card feels. It's going to feel wide open, like almost like you're not sure. But what I want you to know is that this art card is there's power here. There's options, there's creativity. You have all the skill set to choose whatever it is you want. It's just, to me, it feels like you might have some difficulty deciding or picking something during this period because you're, you know, so it's like so open. Does that make sense? Like there's so many options. The third card for you is the Child of Wands, which is Seeker. And again, this is a spiritual card. It's a Wands card. And Seeker is all about sort of going inward and seeking answers from oneself. And like I said in the art card, it's like we're not necessarily clear. We've realized like, okay, I've changed these situations because of the illumination of what I now know. Spiritually, I know that this situation is no longer working for me, this relationship, this job, whatever it is that you need to change that is kind of undeniable at this point. I now am in the art card where I get to make a choice about where I want to be, but the choices are so broad and big, I don't even really know where I want to go or what I want to do. The Seeker card is about kind of going inward, meditating, spending time with oneself, getting quiet, and sort of finding those answers within to sort of connect to your spirit to seek out those answers and find out where it is you need to be. This period to me feels a little bit not scary, but like, how do I want to put it? Like, this could be a period where you're sort of, you go deeper than you've ever gone before within yourself. And that might feel a little bit like scary, but it's going to be okay because it's you seeking your answers from your spirit. And so the more you learn to trust that and the more you learn to sort of bring that forward and have that be your go-to, the stronger that's going to get for you, and you're going to feel more able and capable of doing that. Does that make sense? And I totally feel like this Child of Wands cards too. This Ace of Wands card, it's got that shocking thing to it, and that's the part that why you feel a little bit like Child of Wands over here is sort of like I almost feel like you spend a lot of time sort of thinking about things that have happened to you in the past, and then sort of judging the now by like what's happened to you in the past. And that's sort of similar. But what's going to happen here that's going to be different is that you're going to stop doing that at some point because you're going to have to turn inward and seek those answers from within yourself and your spirit. And that's going to propel you forward and get you to where you need to go and get that sort of direction or distinction that you need, that you're not quite fully having with the art card in the center here. Does that make sense? But you have all the capabilities and all the skill set. You have the Ace of Wands, you have the art card. These are heavy hitter cards. So you have the wherewithal, the power, the strength to do all of this. It's just this Child of Wands card feels a little bit like, can I don't know. Oh my God, this is, can I do this on my own? Can I really, turn inward and make these decisions on my own? And as you do that more and more, it's going to build and get stronger and stronger, and you will, it'll become second nature. Okay, I'm going to leave that there for you, Kirsten. I hope that makes sense. Don't be afraid of what's coming, because this illumination card is something that is going to illuminate. It's going to shed light on a subject that is going to help you in the long run, even if it feels a little bit of a shocker or uncomfortable. You're welcome. I hope that made sense and wasn't too sort of vague, but it was definitely spirit-based. It was definitely the wands and then art, which the art card is kind of a little bit vague, let's say. It's wide open. So Denise? Denise, are you here, dear? After Denise, I have Nancy and then Michaela, and then I'll do a couple of free reads. Just single card free read pulls. Denise is here. Well, then speak the fuck up, Denise. I don't see her. Are you seeing her and I'm not? Maybe that's the problem. Because sometimes. Yes, I'd love if you could read me and Dan. Huh? Okay. No, I see. Denise, she just popped up. Anniversary. Bog him passing. I'm not exactly sure what that means. It's okay. All right, Denise. So I'm gonna just do your cards for you. I'm gonna assume that I have your permission because you have no boundaries. Just kidding. I am gonna assume that I have your permission, and we're gonna get started. Okay. Louis, you would like a free read? Okay, maybe. Oh, it's the anniversary of his passing. Okay. Guys, don't give me any more information than I need before I read the cards. Please, let me read the cards first and then we'll see what happens. All right, so I'm going to assume, and Louis, I'm going to put you down for free because I know you've been in this room this entire time, and I think that is awesome. So hang tight, Louis. You'll be up after these women, okay? I think you're a guy, I hope. All right. All right, Denise, here we go. No, you're fine. Don't worry. I'm just kidding around. Denise, don't apologize. You're totally fine. Okay. All right, so Denise, with you, it's funny. I get, and this does not feel like your energy normally when I read you. I don't know if this is a future because this is. I feel like yes, it is because it's a future reading. I get nervousness. You don't normally come off as nervous to me when I read you. Like when I read you on relationships or whatever, you're usually much more like open, free, whatever. This to me feels more tense, more nervous, more worried. So I don't know if you've got some worries going on or you have a tendency to worry about the future, but there is some nervous energy there that you don't normally have in your day-to-day life. Does that make sense? So I'm going to start with your first card. Your first card is the Child of Cups, and this is Feeler. And to me, this is all about being in one's feelings because it's called Feeler, right? But it's about like kind of having the gamut of all of your feelings all of the time, almost sometimes feeling overwhelmed. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But like I feel like when I look at this card, it feels like it has the opportunity to sort of like I don't want to say drain you, but make you really tired or burn you out at times. Like it could get overwhelming. And I also want to say too that this feels like there's this part of you, like this is future, right? So I feel like there's going to be this period where you're going to be in your emotions a lot. And you're going to be projecting this front of being happy, go lucky, pleased girl, right? But underneath that, there's going to be some sadness, some like to me, it doesn't feel like the insides are going to match the outsides that you project. Does that make sense? And I feel like you kind of feel like you have to do that to get through, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with this. It's just a matter of sort of being overwhelmed by it. Like I almost want to say that maybe you've been doing this for a while already, and this is still going to carry on into the future, and that's why it's going to please. It's going to sort of overwhelm you or kind of have to come to an end because it's like so much, like always putting on a smiling face, always putting on the happy face, even when we don't feel happy inside, right? And this feels like this could intensify in the near future to the point where the gap gets wider, or the strain gets heavier, and the emotions feel bigger and more overwhelming. I don't think it's a bad card. I just think it's like sort of trying to learn how to master one's emotions and uh, and uh, feel them and have them, but also have them be authentic to who we really are and what's really going on with us, and feeling like we have the right to do that, right? And so I think you have to go through this period with this card to get to that place. The next card, interesting, is the Priestess card. And I like this because I feel like this is a seat of control or power, after sort of going through all of this emotional overwhelm and sort of coming to terms with, what we project versus how we really feel. How authentic are we being? Well, our authentic self, or your authentic self, starts to represent in your later future as this Priestess card, which to me is a very strong card. She's highly intuitive. She's major arcana card, so there's a lot of energy to her. She's a strong, intuitive, free thinking, open minded, decision making woman, right? She's the center of her world. There is still this part to the Priestess where she holds this secret, right? She still holds this sort of, how do I want to put it? Like, she still sort of holds this emotional side of herself to herself. Like, I want to say, as I look at both of these cards, Denise, and I know this is a public reading, so I don't want you to feel called out in any way, shape, or form. But I almost want to say, like, as I'm looking at these two cards, I feel like you are actually sadder than you let people know. And that even in this Priestess card, even though she's in a seat of power, or she's more intuitive, she's more in a stronger place and not overwhelmed, she still feels sort of sad to me. There still seems to be like this not melancholy, but something like that, where I feel like you're pulling in your energy during this period, right? You're bringing it in closer around you. You're being more true and honest to yourself. You're quieting your mind. You're quieting your emotions. You're figuring out where it is you want to be, how it is you want to be in the world. You're not necessarily sharing it openly with everybody and everything. You're not open to necessarily taking too many examples from other people or ideas from other people. You're making these decisions on your own. I also feel like there might be an opportunity to move. I don't know why, but I'm feeling like you could be relocating during this period too, while this is all going on, making that decision to relocate. I don't know if you're unhappy with where you are right now physically, but you could be moving to like another job, another town, another store. But you'll be making those decisions, and you'll be like the one in charge of deciding that and knowing what's best for you from a very sort of serious place. Does that make sense? Not serious in a bad way, but like from a more like what's the word? I'm not sure. From a more like adult kind of place, if that makes sense. Because we have this Child of Cups card here, right? So we feel a little bit overwhelmed and a little bit like not immature, but like we feel like a child. This Priestess card, we feel like a woman. We feel like we're in charge. So we're making the decisions. The later future card, and again, like I said, this third card is further out in the future. So there's more opportunities to change this. We can use this card as a warning to not necessarily have this card come to pass. But this is the stagnation card, our good old friend Eight of Cups, stagnation, which we saw all through the month of April. So Like the funny thing is when I look at all three of these cards, I want to ask you, like, do you want to like change your job? Do you want to go to another store? Do you want to, and you're kind of reluctant to do it. And then the stagnation card feels like maybe possibly you might make the decision to not make that move when you get to the point of the priestess. You might make the decision to sort of stay where you are, even though you're not completely happy there. Or there's maybe some good reasons that keep you there, but the rest of them are kind of meh. And so that's what the stagnation card feels like, is like waking up in that meh, and the meh is a little bit worse now because we're aware of it and we're like, so I feel like there is a possibility that if you don't step into the seat of power in this priestess period and really start making clear, concise decisions based on you and only you, and being really clear and true to that, you could end up in this place of feeling stagnant and kind of hanging on to stuff that isn't serving you anymore. It isn't it's like the old stuff will come back, the old feelings, the old sadness, the stuff that you're kind of like in this Child of Cups card where I said, you project this sort of idea of this happy-go-lucky sort of attitude because you feel like you need to get through the day, or people require it of you or expect it of you. It feels like the stagnation card is some of that sadness or that depression or whatever it is that you're sort of hiding in this Child of Cups card might resurface again. Like it might retake hold if you don't stick in this priestess place. And like this is your opportunity to sort of steer your ship and make your decisions and make them from an authentic place. If you slip back into being secretive or not honest with yourself or your feelings and making decisions based around what other people need of you and what other people think you should be or how you should be, you could lead yourself back to feeling sort of dragged down, overwhelmed, it's going to be like harder to put on that happy face. Does that make sense? It's going to be like much harder. So I want you to know that during this priestess period, there is going to be this period where you're going to feel a little bit more in control. You might feel a bit like vulnerable or sensitive, but that's okay. You have the power because she's the priestess. You have the intuition, you have the strength, you have the ability to protect yourself and still show up for others and do what you need to get done. But you have to be authentic and you have to stick with that authenticity. You don't want to give that up, because then if you do and you start putting on fronts for what other people need over yourself, you're going to end up at the stagnation card, and we don't want that. Okay? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay, good. It's not a bad reading. It's like, to me, it feels like it's a warning. That stagnation card does not necessarily have to happen. It feels like it's a warning. It feels like there's a turning point in that priestess card that if you choose to continue doing sort of some of the things that have gotten you by in the past, they're not going to necessarily get you by as easily emotionally. It's going to be heavier and more stagnant feeling and like, ugh. So you really need to use that period coming out of the Child of Cups and going into this position of priestess where you need to start trusting your intuition, listening to yourself, not looking to others for outside validation or what they need. In all honesty, fuck them. This is about you and protecting you and being authentic to yourself. So that should become your focus at that point, because you certainly, with that priestess card, have all of the power and the capacity and capability to do that with that card backing you up. But if you slip into old behaviors or what's easiest, it's actually in the long run not going to become easy. It's going to become stagnant and you're going to feel it, and it's not going to be fun. Hi, Lawrence. Welcome. Please like, share, and join the group. Okay, so Nancy and then Michaela and then Louise will be up for a free reading. Laura Klinger, are you still in YouTube land over there watching? Because Laura Klinger was on way earlier talking about being addicted to soda. I don't know if she's still watching. It's been an hour and a half, guys. Nancy, all right, you're here. Okay. So Nancy, I'm going to assume that I have your permission. All right, let's see. To me, Nancy, when I shuffle your cards, it's funny. Again, not a lot of resistance, but it's a future read. I feel like there's some boredom going on. Like, I want to say, oh God, not this again. So I'm not sure what that's about, but it might feel like you're dealing with the same situations over and over again, or you're kind of rolling your eyes at situations because you're bored with them, or they feel familiar to something that you've already been through or dealt with. But that was kind of the sort of vibe that I was getting from the cards. So let's look at what your cards are. So your first card is the Hierophant. You're totally... This is a Major Arcana card, which is a good card. Like it packs a punch. It has a little bit of extra power to it. Let's say that, right? There's strength here. There's capability here. I feel like there's actually capability and strength here that you're not even aware you have, or you're not necessarily fully utilizing. When I look at this, I feel like you're this statue here, right? And there's this like sort of wall around this statue, and we've got all this stuff going on down here, all this overwhelmed sort of stuff that feels kind of like not necessarily out of control for the Hierophant, but like she doesn't want to deal with it, right? So she keeps it like the wall up, the barrier up, and she doesn't necessarily like honor her true power and her true knowledge. Like the Hierophant is like a teacher, right? You have the ability to teach, you have the knowledge, you have the strength, you have all this capability, but it's like you're kind of keeping it behind this wall, like hidden, trying to keep it safe, trying to keep everything balanced, trying to keep everything like sort of status quo. The way that sort of seems to be a theme too tonight. Like everybody's sort of maybe aware something needs to change, but they're not really willing to take the initiative or the effort to change it. This card to me feels like it's not that you're necessarily not willing to take the initiative to change it, but you're sort of like trying to protect yourself by keeping it, like letting it all go on around you, but not necessarily doing anything different or stepping forward and going, you know what, this is enough. Like no more of this. Stop. We can do this differently. There's a better way. There's a different way. This is sort of like not like having the knowledge, because like there's this moon above his head, right? It's like, if it says to me, it's like you have the intuition, you have the awareness, you know what you need to do, but you're not willing to sort of step outside of your comfort zone to actually take the risk to do it. I don't think this is based in fear. Like, I feel like the Hierophant is a strong card. They know, the Hierophant knows it's an aware teacher, right? That it has a spiritual awareness, that it is smart enough and capable enough. But to me, for some reason, it feels like it's trying to, or you are trying to protect yourself from any sort of like maybe further upset, hurt, damage, whatever it is that you sort of are trying to guard against. But in the guarding against that, what you're doing is you're sort of inadvertently like kind of almost holding on to situations that you don't necessarily want to be around anyways. So the next card is the Ten of Worlds, which is reward. This card to me feels like, boom, she has shifted. She has decided from going from this card where you're all boxed in and like looking at everything outside of you and going, I don't want to deal with it. Then we've got the reward card, which boom, everything explodes forward, right? Like we can't even find you in this card, right? You've made the decision to go after the reward. You've made the decision to like change everything. This is about career. This is a world card. So it's about career, money, finances, all of those sort of decisions, right? We've decided we're changing it. We are the Hierophant. We have the knowledge. We have the spiritual wherewithal. We have the capability to move ourselves forward and the intuition to know when it's going to be right and how to go about doing it. So this reward card says to me that there's going to be a period in your future where you are going to actually step forward. You are going to like go after the prize. You are going to go after the better life, the bigger things, the things that you want, and almost like sort of maybe realize, like come to an understanding with this Hierophant card that, you know what, I deserve this shit and I've just been hiding this whole time. So this reward card is like you stepping forward and going like, no, I deserve this. I want this. I'm going to go after this. This is going to be what's going to make me happy. This is what's going to make me feel abundant. This is what's going to be good. This is what's going to be rewarding. So these are the things that I sort of will focus on and choose for myself and start to pursue instead of like, you know, trying to maintain stability and sanity by hiding behind this sort of, I don't know, curtain is like where I'm going with this. Does that make sense? So the last card is the Man of Wands, and this is the Actor card. And this is a spiritual card because it is a Wands card. It's interesting to me, though. When I look at this card, it feels like, where am I going to put this? I don't know if you're going to have to like pretend your way out of certain situations in the near future, or like it almost feels like to me like you're going to become fixated on this reward in this Ten of Cups, right? There's this period where you're going to be willing to move forward and you're going to be willing to go after the prize and keeping your eye on the prize and moving forward for it, right? This Man of Wands card says to me that there's something that sort of backtracks you, that makes you feel like, oh, I have to pretend to be this to get that done. Or, oh, I have to pretend to say that to get them to believe this. Or, oh, I have to... like it's almost like second guessing yourself again, like forgetting like that you have this Hierophant card that you started from, right? It's like, it's funny, like when I look at this Hierophant card and then I look at this Man of Wands card, I want to say, girl, do you not feel safe with people? Like, do you not trust people? Do you not feel like you can be you with around other human beings? Because to me, it feels like the Hierophant is sort of hiding here, even though they're knowledgeable and capable. But this Actor card says to me that like you're not, even if you go after the reward and you make the changes that make your life better, there's still this part of you that still needs to hide. There's still this part of you that still needs to put on the hat or the face or project a certain image for what other people need from you. To maintain sort of the status quo or happiness. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. She says, LOL, not all the time. Like, I almost feel like this reward card in the center, it feels like when you start to go after what you really want and you start to really start to bring that in or make the changes that it takes to make that sort of stuff, you're going to have to like sort of shift your hats and start like sort of putting on, not fronts, not like you're lying, but like you're not letting people see the true you or what it is you really want. Does that make sense? Or maybe it's like trying on different ideas of who you are and what you want, because this is a spiritual card, so it doesn't feel like to me you're like lying per se, but it just feels like you're not really quite sure who you want to be and how you want to be in this new world that you're trying to create for yourself. So it's going to be like sorting through that and trying to figure out who you are and how you want to be. Does that make sense? But you're going to need to do it for yourself, not for anybody else. Don't do it for anybody else. Although I think the tendency might be for you to do it for others. Don't. Cut it out. So Laura Klinger never responded on YouTube, so I was going to give her a free reading if she was still in there. But I only have 2 people in there, and that's probably Angel and Ducky at this point. All right, Michaela, are you here? And then after Michaela, thank you, Nancy. Louis, you'll be next if you're still in the room. Please like and share the video, guys. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, join the group, tell your friends. Michaela's here. Wait, what's going on? Oh, so Michaela, you paid for 3 cards? Wait, I'm confused. All right, Louis, thank you for still being here. Just hang tight. Y'all are confusing the shit out of me. Michaela, yeah, I saw you paid 15. So you want to do 1 for you, 1 for Angel, and 1 for Ducky? Is that the deal? Okay. All right, so let's do that. Okay. Okay, so we're starting with Michaela's card first. So Michaela, your card is the Ace of Crystals, which is brilliance. So to me, I'd say that your future is going to be bright and shiny and wonderful and brilliant. I think that this has to do all with your thinking, what you choose to focus on, where you choose to put your attention, and really start to trust how your mind works. Does that make sense? Like, be aware of where you're putting your thoughts, where you're putting your attention, what ideas you want to like make happen and move forward with, because they will be good ideas and you can make them sort of happen, right? It's all about how you hold them in your space, how you hold them in your mind, how you think about them. And this is the Ace of Crystals, so there's power to this card, and there's power in your mind. And if there's opportunities or things rattling around in your head, ideas of, oh, I really wish I could do this, or that would feel really nice to do that. Well, I would stay in that would feel really nice feeling, and pursue that with your mind, and pursue that and pursue that. And it feels like there's going to be a lot of like sort of new opportunities from this card, a lot of new ideas, a lot of new thought, a lot of sort of positive changes coming in the future. Okay. But you have to trust yourself, and you have to stay very aware of where your thoughts are at, where your attention's at, what you're focusing on, what kind of energy you're putting into it. If you can keep that all on the upswing and on the positive, and the momentum of that, it'll build upon itself, and some really kind of wonderful things could come about in the near future for you. Okay, so the next card is Angel. Angel, bitch, why are you so serious? Just kidding. Angel, you get the Emperor. You're welcome. You're welcome. Your card is the Emperor, which is a major arcana card, so heavy hitter. It does feel a little bit serious. It feels a little bit stubborn, let's just say that. Not in a bad way, just it's very kind of almost masculine in its sort of delivery. When I flipped it over, there's going to be a period where I feel like you're going to kind of, I don't know, become more, how do I want to put this, like stubborn, masculine, have to make decisions more serious. There's going to be a focus on money. There will be an opportunity to make more money. If money is an issue for you now, or if you're worried about money, I feel like in this card there is the opportunity for producing that money, but it's going to require like you to get serious about it, you to get focused on it, you to be sort of focused on it that you may not necessarily feel like you have a lot of room for fun or for goofing around, right? To me, this feels more like I got to get this done because I want this in my future, right? You will get it done. You will have it in your future. The Emperor is a powerful card, and it says like to me, it's like through hard work and perseverance, we get whatever it is we put in, right? But I feel like, to me, this first card, this Ace of Crystals for Michaela, she feels like she's like kind of bursting forward and having a grand old time, and it's a lot of fun for her. This Emperor card to me feels like it's not that it's not fun for you, but it sort of feels like it's more of a burden or a task to achieve the things that you want. Like that you have to like work really hard to get every little bit that you get. This doesn't feel like little bits though. This feels like it's going to be, there is a payoff. There's good things coming, but I feel like you almost maybe you may not receive a whole lot of pleasure or enjoyment while doing the work to get there. Does that make sense? It feels more like a task. Not a task that you can't handle, but just a task that you're kind of like, oh yeah, well, I got to do this because that's what I want in my future. So I'm gonna, have to not slog along, because I don't want you to think that you're slogging, because the Emperor is in a seat of power. But it feels like you're not fully enjoying the creative process of it, like say Michaela's card is. Michaela's card feels like it's more like, wow, this is fun, this is brilliant, oh my god, totally like exploding forth, and what I focus on and what I manifest, and like having fun with it. And you're more like, oh shit, I gotta do this so that I can get that, so that I can make that money, and no. Does that make sense? You'll get there though. That's the problem. It's like you say work, like that sounds like perfect. You're like working on that actually. Angel, that's it. Like the thing is you're the Emperor card. You don't even need to work. Like, I mean, you do need to work. We all need a job, right? But like you have the capacity and the strength and the smarts and the knowledge, and the Emperor is a fair and honest ruler. Like he's a good guy. He's just he's very like impartial, balanced, all of that. But I just feel like you deserve a little fun too. Like don't forget to have fun, and give yourself credit where credit is due. Like when you do achieve stuff, or when things do come in and things are good, give yourself that credit and that pat on the back, and remember to like sort of enjoy some of it too, because it is you doing all the work, and it is you like making it happen. Okay. So, and then the next card is Ducky. And this is the Child of Cups, which we saw this tonight. And this is the Feeler card. And to me, the difference in this card where I felt it with Denise, it felt more like she was kind of hiding her emotions. To me, this Child of Cups feels like a renaissance of sorts for Ducky. I would expect in the near future that you might become a little bit more like of a prankster or a little bit more like childlike, feeling lots of emotions and enjoying that in a way, in like how children do, not like that they enjoy like the sad emotions and that sort of stuff, but to me it feels like all of in this card it feels like the feelings running the gamut of all your feelings is actually going to be an enjoyment to you. It feels to me like there's like play in this card because it's a child card. It feels to me like you might find yourself, I don't know, like screwing with people a little bit more, or just for the giggles and because you love them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it has that vibe to it. And it's just like an overall general like sort of enjoying all of it, all the feels, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it, just kind of like loving all of it because it is what it is, that it is what makes us alive, right? And so to me, I feel like there's an exuberance with this card and also a little bit of like I can't get off this prankster energy. Like I don't know, but I feel like you're gonna have fun. You're gonna have fun in the near future with all feeling all the different emotions that you've got going on, the love you have for people and the support that you give to people, and even sometimes when you get good and fired up and angry about something, you're actually going to probably enjoy that too, because you'll look back at it like a day or two later and go, ooh, damn, was I pissed. That was fucking great. Like that's just how that's how that feels to me. So that's your 3 cards, ladies. All right. Okay, so Louis, are you still here? This poor guy Louis, he like walked into this room and never left. It's like a roach motel in here. Poor baby. Louis, are you here? You're welcome. I call you Michaela. I know it's Michelle, but I like calling you Michaela. You're welcome, Angel. You're welcome, Denise. I had a read and the lady could not keep a straight face. Okay, Louis. I'm gonna assume what I do is I just assume that I have permission, and I'm gonna pull one single card for your future. Okay, so we'll see what happens. All right. So Louis, for me, like as I'm shuffling the cards, I feel like your mind works really fast. Like I couldn't even keep up. I don't know if you're always thinking or constantly thinking. I don't know if it's borderline on worry, but to me, it feels like a lot of fast-moving thought and sort of it just doesn't stop. Does that make sense? Um, Not that it's a bad thing. It's just sort of like constantly going up here, thinking, and moving things around very quickly in your mind, and not like staying with any sort of one thought for too very long. Does that make sense? The card that I get for you is funny. It's the Emperor card, which Angel just had, and so I feel like when I look at this card, the difference between you and say Angel's card, I do still see the stubbornness. I do still see that you're hard-headed. I see that you're trying to make your fortune and you're trying to like build your like empire, so to speak, similar to Angel in that way. But I feel like when I look at this, there's this idea or this pressure that you put on yourself or you're going to experience coming up. I don't know if it's your father, but it feels like there's this Like there's this male pressure that you need to sort of live up to. And that's why this Emperor card is here. It's like you trying to like fill the shoes of what expectations are of you. Maybe it's not your father's expectations, maybe it's your mother's expectations or your family's expectations of yourself or whatever it is. But the thing is it's like when I look at this card, it feels like there's this constant planning and constant thinking and constant pushing towards what is it going to get, like how's it going to get me there? I need to fill these shoes. I need to get it done. I need to be the emperor. I need to be in charge. I need to make my like, I want to say my millions. I don't know that that's really where what you want, but like that's where my mind goes. It's just like I need to like sort of build like everything here we go. Everything like I do and think about now is setting up and putting in place for the future. And so that's why I can't let my mind rest. I can't because I'm in charge. And this is an important, when I look at this card, I feel like this is an important position for me to be in. I'm the emperor. I'm the creator of it. I've got to get it done. If I don't do it, nobody else will. And if I don't do it, like I feel like there's a lot of judgment in this card. Like I feel like you're judging yourself in some way. Like, and that's what I mean by there's this these shoes you need to fill. Like there's this certain set goal or way that I feel like how do I want to put this? Like you have this sort of map that you have. This is the mental picture I'm getting right now. Like you have this sort of map of how you're supposed to get there. You know where you want to go, and you have this map of how you're supposed to get there. But it may not even be like your map. It's sort of like the map of how other people got there or how you think other people got there, and you're following it like to a T and always thinking about it. And it sort of kind of boxes you in a way because it may not even be your map. Like it might not be the way, I'm going into low battery mode. It may not be the way that you're going to go about getting there. This Emperor card to me says that you will get there. You have the strength, you have the power, you have certainly have the stubbornness. You're smart enough, you're kind enough, you're fair enough, you're all of those things. But I feel like there is this sort of pressure that you put on yourself that maybe is unneeded. Maybe you could lighten up or let go of a little bit in the near future. It feels to me like this being the Emperor card says to me that you're heading towards good things. You're heading towards the building of your empire. But like similar to what I said to Angel is like, you know, have a little fun along the way too. Like, to me, it's funny because I think you're a man, and this is a very masculine card, and Angel's a woman, and she had a very masculine attitude towards it. But I think, like, to me, I feel like because you're a man, there's this yardstick that you're measuring yourself by with this card of like how you go about doing it is just as important about actually going about doing it. Does that make sense? Like, there's a certain way or something like that you feel like you have to do it by these set of rules, and let that go. Just do it. You can do it. The Emperor card says to me that you can do it. You have the capacity, you have the power, you have the will, you have the strength, you have the knowledge, you have all of those things. It's just you're sort of maybe boxing yourself in by the rules of society or the rules of your father or the rules of your mother or somebody who's important to you that says, oh no, this is how you should do it. But that's not really true. Does that make sense? I'm told I'll read into the map too much. I'm told all the time from a great friend. Just do it, friend always says. I think you should. That's the thing. I think you're so busy like planning it out that like you're kind of almost not wasting time, but like you're forgetting all of the strength and capability that you already have. I mean, this Emperor card is a very good, strong card. And this is a future card for you. So you're heading into that. So just do it. And don't get too caught up in the how, just the do. What is it? what is it Yoda says? No try, just do. So you're welcome, Louie. You're very, very welcome. All right, so I think that's going to be it for tonight, guys, because I've been on for almost 2 hours. The music's over, and my battery's low on my phone, and my hair is a hot mess. So I think that's it for tonight. Thank you, Louie, for sitting through the whole night with us. We're a fun group of people if you want to join the group. And thank you for being so patient. You're welcome. You're very welcome. And I'm going to sign off for tonight. I will be on in the morning to do the forecast. So you guys, like I said, like, follow, share, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. I'll be forecasting tomorrow's card for the day. And we will probably put up another poll for our next pop-up in the next couple of days to pick a topic. Okay? So thank you all for tuning in. And thank you, Pat. Thank you very much. Why did I feel like I wanted to say something to you today, Pat? There's something that came up today. Now I can't remember it. Something we were talking about. Made me think of you. Oh well, I'll remember it probably in the middle of the night. All right, you guys. Good night, Karen. Good night, Ducky. I'll talk to you guys all later. Good night, everybody over in YouTube land, which I think is just Ducky and Angel. But good night, guys. I'm going to sign off over here in YouTube land, actually.